What's going on, true believers? Welcome to another episode of One Shot. I am your host, Mr. J, and decent week this week. Lots of good books, lots of good stories. And let's start it off with this amazing cover here from Shadow Man number 5. I know I've already done a review on this book a couple weeks back, but saw the cover that I wanted from my local comic shop. What a fitting cover. If you're in the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. All this snow and ice. We got a homage cover for the movie The Thing. If you've seen that movie, you know it takes place in the Antarctic. What a fitting cover. But let's get started, shall we? Let's hop right into it. Right into the deep end here with Crossover issue number 11. This book is so meta, like it's so deep right now. Donny Cates, the writer of the book, is writing himself in the book. I don't know how I can I'm going to try to unravel this little ball of yarn here. So Donny Cates apparently has written a screenplay or some type of, script, and everything that he's written has been coming true, which is the crossover story. So he gets captured by some type of government officials. He has not yet written the ending to this book, and they're trying to get him to finish the ending, so all of this will be over with. But he just can't find something that he likes, apparently, so he's just been there writing for years. But he eventually tells our main character here that she is going to be his ending. This book is so crazy. It's so much involving the current comic book industry. Absolutely loving it. It's such a wild ride. If you haven't been reading crossover, or if you dipped out like I know a lot of people did early on because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, hop back in this thing because it is a wild ride. Chicken Devil number 4. I believe this is the end of the arc, possibly. Last issue, we find out that the guy's family is actually alive. This book, they just kind of went on vacation, it seems like, without him. His family just doesn't seem to care. His family, I don't know if I would want them as my family the way they act. He cares too much. They don't care enough. And he's doing all of this stuff for them. He's trying to take out the Russian mob single-handedly for his family that just doesn't care. And he's basically asked the question in his book, are you happy that they're back? Or would you rather them be gone again? And he's kind of having to think about that. But at the same time, his family's kind of in danger again. So he's after the mob. But it turns out the cops that were investigating him like what he's doing, and they're kind of helping him out. They're dressed as chicken devils as well. So this is an interesting story. This arc has ended, and I believe they're going to do another one involving the group now, which is kind of cool. This story has been pretty good. I've been loving it. It's just a fun, violent story. New Bern, issue number 3. I feel like we've had a lot more with this story, but at the same time, I feel like almost nothing has happened. It's been good, though. Chip Zdarsky wrote it, so obviously I gotta say his name again at least once. But this book, we've kind of hit the end of his investigation into who's been killing all these mob families, the goons in the mob families, and it turns out that it is one of the lieutenants in the Russian mob doing it. He is a serial killer, and he's kind of just getting his way by killing even his own people, just so it takes, the heat off of him a little bit. But we find out it's him. The problem is solved. The end, right? Wrong. Now the cops want to hire New Bern for something, and we don't know what it is yet. But this story's been pretty good. Just an old investigator just kind of wandering around and solving mysteries while dragging along his quote-unquote protege. Definitely an interesting read. Not for everybody, though, I can tell you that. Daredevil Woman Without Fear, number 2. So we've got a start of a battle with Kraven the Hunter. And Kraven's like, I've got all this information on you to keep you here to fight me so we can just, see who wins. He just wants to, keep them there or he'll release the information. She's like, I've already told Matt Murdock all of this. You have nothing over me. So he runs away and says, I have to find something else, I guess. And he finds somebody and lures her into a trap in the middle of like a populated area. And she's like, we should have did this somewhere else. You're going to get arrested. I'm going to get arrested. And he's like, oh, I'm not going to get arrested. Bam. He throws on a badge for the Thunderbolts. He is working for the current administration, which is the Kingpin's Thunderbolts. So I imagine the next issue there's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, hopefully between Elektra and Kraven the Hunter. The artwork in this has been really good. The story is, decent. It's keeping my attention. And, it's just kind of starting out. I can't remember if this is another Zdarsky book or not. I know he's doing the regular Daredevil series, but I can't remember if he's doing this one. Batman 120. And I know I've said this before. I like James Tynion, but I'm so happy that he's off the Batman book because he was phoning that in. He's been phoning that in for a while, it seems. This one, the artwork is absolutely amazing again. The story of Batman Inc., Lex Luthor, all tied together, and this new villain, Abyss, is absolutely brilliant. I don't want to spoil too much on this one. It's just been a really good story. Batman has been blinded. We don't know by what. He can kind of see things, but he can't see most things. So he thinks it's maybe nanotech in his brain or something. But this book is absolutely brilliant. And it's just kind of been a twist right at the end of this one. No, not too many spoilers. The cool thing I will say about that book, Lex Luthor putting on a Batman outfit that he had created for Batman in case he joined Batman Inc. at one point. Thought that was really cool. Dark Knights of Steel, issue number 4. Absolutely love this cover, by the way. Even though she's not in this particular book. That cover is absolutely brilliant. This one is Alfred is trying to convince Bruce Wayne that he is more or less deserving of, respect and whatnot, and to kind of lift him up a little bit because he's pretty down. He's been pretty down. Kal-El has put him down for the most part through this book, and it turns out that Bruce Wayne is the rightful heir probably to the throne. And it's just kind of the backstory behind the parents, Kal-El, the L's and the Waynes. But this series has been really good. I like the medieval setting that it's in, and these characters and their roles. Absolutely digging it. 4 of 12, so it's going to be a short run, but I think they can wrap up a story pretty well in that time period. This was a last minute pickup, but it was okay. Monkey Prince. I don't know. I feel like this issue was really rushed, and not a whole lot was making too much sense in the beginning. We're following like this boy through high school who has panic attacks. It seems like it's panic attacks because Batman broke into his house one night and threatened his parents. So obviously, if you know anything about Batman, they were probably on the wrong side of things. But he's kind of having these panic attacks, and he's getting bullied at school, and the janitor is helping him out. But it turns out the boy is not who he seems. He's the son of the Monkey King. If you've heard of the Journey into the West, that Monkey King. And the janitor is also some type of animal, I don't know, guy who's kind of sent there to watch him, it seems like. It was okay. I wouldn't say there's anything special here. The character is probably not nearly as developed as it should be, but I might give it a few more. We'll see. Spider-Man issue 88. We're introduced to this new character, the Queen Goblin. They said something about it being Norman Osborn's sins kind of incarnate. So I guess his sins are put onto this character. I can't remember her name, but she is now a goblin character. She's got the classic goblin characteristics. She seems kind of insane, the glider, all of that. But Beyond Corporation is in control of her. They kind of send her on a task. She doesn't know why she does the task. She just kind of feels compelled to do the task, which was to destroy the data that Spider-Man has on Beyond Corp, and either take out Spider-Man, which is Ben Reilly and his girl, and Mary Jane Watson, who is there. But we have something that's uncharacteristic happen at the end of this book, and that is Ben Reilly left Mary Jane Watson behind and rescued his girlfriend. So we're kind of breaking away from the mindset of him being a direct clone of Peter Parker and having this absolute love for Mary Jane Watson. He's rescuing basically his Mary Jane, but whereas Peter would probably try to rescue everyone, he left her behind. I thought that was kind of a oh no moment. They're changing his personality, which is kind of cool. I'm absolutely a Ben Reilly fan. Thought that was really cool. This series has been really good since the change in writers. Alien number 9. This book it started out really good. Now it's just kind of okay. It's just, I'm reading it because I'm a huge Xenomorph Alien fan. We're on this kind of almost Mennonite-like planet. Technology is not something that they're fond of. But they're all being wiped out by Xenomorphs now. And I don't know where it's going from here. It's just kind of... It's not a cohesive story in single issues. It might make more sense in a trade format, but as in single issues, it's not very cohesive. Tech on Avengers issue 6. This is the end of the series, maybe. This one also has kind of a cliffhanger at the end, alluding to more to come. T'Challa shows up, makes the Red Skull realize that he has more willpower over the shards than the Red Skull does. And everything kind of goes back to normal for the most part. There's a Lord of the Rings moment where Tony Stark has the shards and he realizes he could do anything that he wants, and he kind of has to break that mindset and let it go. It's okay, but there seems to be more to come in this series. I thought this series was pretty decent. The artwork is really great. And the Momoko covers, like this one, super cool. Savage Spider-Man, issue number 1. Really didn't enjoy this one, actually. Did not realize that this is kind of a continuation from Non-Stop Spider-Man. I started reading that, I got about 3 issues in, and then I stopped reading it. So when I got to this book, they were alluding to that and things that had happened in that book. I'm like, I didn't read it all the way through, so I have no idea what all this is. Baron Zemo is still here with Spider-Man, and they're kind of having to team up a little bit. I don't know. It was not good. It's not good. Nocterra, issue number 7. So we're a little bit down the road now where she has kind of created her own convoy. They're on a mission to save the world. Overall, this story has been okay. Started out really cool, kind of tapered off and just to the okay. It's still in that okay territory to me. It's readable. I don't think I would put it in my top 20. But, you know, the artwork is decent. Some of the characters, at least one of the characters I know a lot of people like, was Blacktop Bill. It seems like we're getting more into Blacktop Bill later, which I'm excited about. And then there's a team that they're sending after Bill that's made the same way that he is. They're all black. There's no features whatsoever except just, shiny teeth. I don't know. We'll see where this story arc goes, and if it goes anywhere decent, I may continue on with it. Otherwise, I might drop it after a few more issues. The Scumbag, issue number 12. He's in the 1950s. The Nazi-like group that's in this book, they changed the world to be like the 1950s. He's kind of happy about it, but not happy about it because drugs are a lot easier to get in the 1950s. But he's still being chased, trying to run away to save his powers, but he's got everybody chasing him, and he just runs into more people. Those people wind up hating him and start chasing him for some reason. It's just one big chase book, this one was, but I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Some of the 1950s style things are in this book, like some of the characters from Happy Days. The Archie characters are in this book, but they're not all named, the Archie and Veronica and stuff like that. But I thought it was really cool. Just a bunch of debauchery in this book, and I absolutely love it. Basilisk, chapter 7. So the guy that makes people feel hungry, there's a giant fight between him, our main characters, and then I'm not sure what her power is. It might be touch, but she's with another one of the census people, and she realizes, if I kill this person, maybe I'll get their powers too. So 2 more people in this book have died, and now I believe there's only the main villain and our main characters. But the main villain now has the powers of most of the group. So she's kind of a higher level at this point than our heroes. But this story has been pretty good. I've been enjoying it for sure. The artwork is really good. I like the senses-based powers story arcs. You know, it's not a bad read. I'd wait for trades though on this one. I'm gonna go with Spawn, issue 326. It's just, I mean, Spawn doing Spawn stuff. You know, it was an okay book. Really not too memorable. Spawn trying to gather information, meeting people. Haunt makes his appearance. They kind of have a little tiff here. But it looks like they're kind of after the same information, so they're kind of working together. Haunt is been poisoned and is slowly dying. I mean, we've kind of seen this before. But the story overall has been pretty good. I'm still on with Spawn. Still on with Spawn. Geiger. This is the 80-page giant, and wow, what a read this was. I think we're starting to almost create a Geiger-like universe. So they introduce one or two characters in this book that are going to be getting their own series. There's one called Red Coat, which is the first story, and it takes place in 1776, the Revolutionary War. He's on the side of the Redcoats, and George Washington comes over, crossing the Delaware, and he shoots him in the head. He shoots George Washington. And George Washington gets back up. Turns out George Washington is some type of wizard. It's kind of cool. The group that he's in, the Masons, is kind of almost like a wizarding-like group. But then we get introduced to all these other characters. They're like the owners of these other casinos. And also kind of a light introduction to this robot character that I believe is getting his own series, possibly. But yeah, I thought this one was a really great read. It was easy read, even though it was 80 pages. I didn't feel like overburdened with reading or anything like that. We get a little backstory on some of these casino owners, his dog that he has, his two-headed dog. I thought it was really, really cool, and I'm so ready to see more of this universe, Geiger. And this book here is, I believe, I can't remember if it was a Kickstarter only or something. I can't remember where I ordered it. I ordered it, I think, directly from their site. This is called Awful Thoughts. It starts out with this woman getting an inheritance of this mansion, basically, and before she sells it, she's going through it. Her dad had committed suicide, and she finds this book. It's kind of bloodstained and everything, with symbols on it, and she's going through it, and it just seems like it's a bunch of mini stories of just like awful thoughts, awful things that happen to people and things like that. Interesting book. It's not mainstream yet, like it's not being published through things. I think you can only get it through their site currently, but they have said that issue number 2 will be on Kickstarter sometime this year, so I may pick that up. We'll see. But this one's called Awful Thoughts. This is the Virgin variant. And a couple things that I picked up. We got the New Avengers 27. This is the first appearance of not Ronin, but Clint Barton as the Ronin, which we have seen in the movies already and in the Hawkeye television show. But this is the first appearance of Hawkeye basically as the Ronin. And then last but not least, this is Amazing Spider-Man Super Special. This is kind of a double issue, so on the back there's another issue that's flipped around, but I absolutely love this cover, so I have this cover facing out. Classic McFarlane. It's done after McFarlane, but with my favorite Spider-Man, Ben Reilly. But this book is the origin of the Planet of the Symbiotes. Well, that is all I have for you today. If you like this video, go on down below and hit that like button for me. It makes a difference. It gets the algorithm working in my favor a little bit more. Get the book, not the book. Get these episodes out to more people. If you have a comment, leave that for me too. Tell me what you're reading. Tell me what I should be reading. And as always, share this video with your friends if you liked it, and have a good day.